Welcome to part 2, Learn Hand Embroidery with me. And we're going to learn 3 more stitches together. And the first one is a split stitch. And we learned the straight stitch in part 1. So you're going to start with a straight stitch, and then you're going to come up in between the threads of that stitch. So I'm going to do a few split stitches right now, and you can follow along. So we go down with a straight stitch, and then we come back up about a third of the way into the stitch, and just come right back up between the threads. So a straight stitch, going down, and then come back up in between the threads about a third of the way back. And this is the split stitch. I'm using 2 strands of embroidery floss, but if you used 1, you would still come up in between the threads. It would just be a little more difficult to get in between the threads. So I'm using 2 threads here so it's easier to see. Now the next one is the whipped running stitch. And so that again starts out with your straight stitch that we learned in part 1. So we should all be fairly good at the straight stitch. I still struggle keeping it straight. So once we get the straight stitches in, then we're going to do our whip stitch around it. So to do the whip stitch, you're going to come up with your needle from underneath your fabric at the base of your straight stitch, and then it's just as simple as passing your needle through the stitches. I'm going from right to left, and you're just passing the needle just under your straight stitch. First one and then the next one. Don't catch any fabric in it. It's just strictly tunneling your thread underneath your stitch from right to left. You can do from left to right if that's more comfortable, I suppose, or if you're left-handed. As long as you get the same effect, the running whip stitch. And I've used a contrasting thread to show that more. Okay, so now the next one is the satin stitch, and you can see that I've been practicing in the pink balloon over there. I just drew a couple little balloons to give me something to practice the satin stitch on. So the first thing I'm going to do is outline my balloon, and I'm using the back stitch, which was one of the stitches that we covered in part 1. So outline your design with the back stitch, or you can just use the regular forward straight stitch, whichever is easiest for you. I am kind of partial to the back stitch. It's just comfortable to work with. Now this is going to be a padded satin stitch. So in other words, there's 2 layers of thread that creates the satin look. And so like I said, first we got to do the outline, and then we're going to go back and forth with our threads through the middle of the balloon to create the first layer. And you can see in my satin stitch on my last one, I got kind of a stacked appearance on my balloon, so that's a no-no. But I've got my back stitching all done, and now I'm going to get ready to lay my first layer of thread that's going to create the padding. And on this one I'm going to go horizontal with my first layer of thread. In the pink balloon I went vertical and then horizontal with my satin stitch. But you'll see how it all comes together here as I work through this. So let's get started on the horizontal stitching. So I'm going to come up from the bottom and start working my way across. Start in the middle, and then you would work your way up to the top. Or if you're going the other direction, you know, again, start in the middle and work to each, first one side and then the other side. But okay, here we go. We're going to go straight across to make our first stitch. And you'll want to keep your stitches on the inside of the outline for this first layer. On your satin layer, you'll be going to the outside of your outline. And maybe you don't even want to do a stitched outline, but I think it's probably easier to keep your edges nice and even if you have a stitched outline. Again, I'm just learning, and I haven't really played around much without doing the outline. Probably on smaller designs, like little tiny leaves and stuff like that. Obviously, you wouldn't need to outline where you're going to satin stitch. But I don't know, I'm just learning, so this is the step that we're at right now. We may learn some other things as we go along. We may get some comments from some of you. So this is my first layer, and then I have started now my second layer, which is my satin stitch, and I started it in the middle, opposite direction, and working out to the outer edge, keeping my stitches as even as I can, working with the shape of the balloon and keeping my stitches nice and snug against each other without overlapping. And I'm doing much better on this balloon than I did on the first one. And so there's my second balloon. And now I'm going to use my split stitch and my whipped stitch for my little ribbons on the balloons. So again, you can see my flaws in the first balloon, and there's my ribbon of the split stitch, and there's my ribbon on this one, which I'm much happier with, and I used the whip stitch for the ribbon on this one. So good luck, and I hope you've enjoyed this video.